Hey, welcome to another edition of Breaking Protocol from the Razzle Dazzle Show, our ongoing miniseries where we break down key updates and design questions straight from the development of Shade Protocol. These episodes are built around the game's community engagement series, Devs Ask You, or DAUs, where Kendall and the team not only show what's changing, but invite fans to shape the journey with them. The Kickstarter officially launches on June 4th, and these episodes are all about what players can expect, how the campaign could impact the future of the project, and the philosophy behind asking a community to help bring a game like this to life. Be sure to follow us and Little Legendary on our socials and YouTube channel, and be sure to join the Shade Protocol Discord server to follow new DAUs, vote in polls, and share your voice directly with the dev team. Links to everything will be in the description down below, and with all that being said, it's Razzle Dazzle time! So, without spoiling too much, as of right now, of course, how much could this Kickstarter realistically impact the scope of Shade Protocol until its release?
It makes me emotional to think about it, so I don't like to think about it too much. But I'll say it could be life-changing if it goes well. And it doesn't have to be explosively good in order for it to be drastically life-changing. You have to think about it from a perspective of credibility. A studio like ours, you know, we have great talent. We have people that, you know, we know are, you know, incredible. But as a team, as a studio, this is our first game. So credibility is one of the most important things in this industry. So having a successful Kickstarter before the money touches the account in which we will manage it, that already tells the world this is a real thing. This is a team that found a way to get through the sound of the internet, and they rallied a community that loves them, and we're all rowing towards the same goal now. We're all doing this together. That's something that doesn't happen as often as people think, right? I don't know the percentage, but I don't think probably the amount of games that actually publish a year from the ones that are being made, I don't think exceeds 10%. So just the fact that you can fund your game in some way, shape, or form, it's a huge thing. So going from there, yeah, if we're able to like work for, let's say, even if it's just 6 more months of us not needing anybody in terms of like economic support from absolutely anyone else, that makes it so that we don't have to do a Patreon, or we don't have to like beg for anything, right? We don't want to do that. We want to give you a product that you love, that is giving you more value than it costs in terms of hours of gameplay or enjoyment or core memories, whatever it is, and then trade that for a resource that lets us make more of that thing. That's what we want to do. We're pretty much a bakery, right? You give me some money, I give you a donut, you enjoyed the donut, you really want another one because it was good, you come back, I give you another donut, right? But the main thing here is that it is too important to us that this is one of the best donuts you've ever had. And that's probably our mistake for our first game, right? We could have gone a little lower. We could have done less. That's something I will either live to remember fondly, or I will live to regret. But, we've gone a little far in terms of scope and what we want to do. But it is what we want to do now because we know people want it. So because of that, economically it's challenging. If we do okay, we might be able to fund the studio for like another year without me having to like sell my house or like do some weird stuff like that. If it goes really well, it might be much longer than that. Depends on how I manage the economics of all of it. I'll explain that a little later to give people confidence. But in the end, if we could do any of those things, our path towards making the game a reality becomes it's easy to see it at that point, right? Just finishing the Kickstarter will let us have publisher conversations that are incredibly favorable. There's also other funding goals, and here I'm getting too technical, so I'm going to speed run through this. But there are other funding types that are not linear publishers. They're called late stage funding and stuff like that. Whenever your game is, let's say, close to 6 months to being done, or you have more of the core systems done, and mostly what you're looking for is marketing support, this, that, and the other, you can make different deals with the cluster of the gaming industry to get support and not have to give away so much of the soul, right? There's also so I guess that's kind of the long-winded answer here is it is incredibly possible that this could be pretty much like completely life-changing for my team, as in, like, we only have like one person in the team that's full-time. Everyone else here is part-time,
Right.
but yet in a year, this is what we've made. Everything you guys seen, most of it is an engine. Even though I don't think we have a pretty good demo. The fact that we made a demo at all with all the crazy mechanics that we have, and we have, like, I don't know, close to 3-4 areas fully done, 4 trailers and 2 more coming. Like, there's so much that we've done in a year that these people deserve the opportunity. I don't care if I'm, I don't care about my part of it. I want my team to be able to continue to do what they do for as long as they can together. And that takes money. So, but yeah, the life-changing, I keep repeating it because it could be to the point that we're able to then focus on only Shade Protocol. I have people in my team that they have to work on other things while they're working here because, I can't afford to keep them here all the time. And that would change. And we'll be able to keep them here. We'll be able to hire people of the caliber of my team to keep growing this tiny little family we have where, everyone is like focused on making this great thing we love. And finding those people is difficult. I'll give you guys a little bit of secret here. I've probably interviewed over, I don't know if this number is accurate. It might be much lower, but it's probably around 100 people for a level designer. Probably around 100 people.
Wow.
I would say. And I'm just not. It's not happening. Like, I'm not picking. No, I'm gonna find the right person, and I'm very confident that I'm close. I'll say that I'm very confident that I'm close. But that kind of stuff like, imagine what 100 interviews cost in terms of time, right?
Right.
Time of me, time of just structure, times of the cost of opportunity of not having a level designer. Like, it's all of that costs real money.
It can be more expensive the longer you don't have one. And also it's expensive for you to be looking one and taking attention away from the game that you are making.
Exactly. And it is even more expensive to pick someone that's not the right fit.
Right, yeah.
Right? Because that demoralizes people. It brings you a game that you're not going to like, which is something that I don't tolerate. So, pretty much I'm picking someone that's going to go to the prom with my little girl. And it's just not happening. I have those interviews. I sit on those interviews with a shotgun in hand. So tell me about yourself. So
bring her back by 8.
It's difficult, but we're almost there. It just requires money, and I feel so incredibly bad that I have to ask. I shouldn't. If I would have made different life choices, if I would have, I don't know. There's so many ways that this wouldn't have happened. So it's a feeling of regret that I have inside that I can't shake off. That I know this wouldn't have happened if I would have just planned for this better during my life, during my years of working on big corpo or all this stuff. I just I don't know. I just didn't do I didn't do this right. But now that I am deeply focused on this, now that life has put me in this situation where this is my one and only goal, then I'm making the best I can with it. And I have to make sure that, I put my ego to the side. And, just so you guys know, there's people in this community that have offered me ridiculous amounts of money just to help us. And I've said no every time because we as a team don't want to do anything like that. We don't want to take your money if we are not giving you value and a half for what we're not doing that. So it is challenging, but I know I'm sounding a little bit like too dramatic, but it is our challenge. Like our challenge is we don't want to be those guys, because when those guys fail, they make the gaming industry materially worse. They tell people that it is okay to take advantage, and if we could do it through the struggle, then we don't have to talk about the struggle. We could just say, look, we did it this way, and it worked out, and maybe it's okay to endure this for this much, and then just go to the other side and and show up with a good product, because that's all you need to do. Just need to make a good product, but it just so happens that that's incredibly expensive. So, but anyway, enough about that. That's kind of what's going on there.
Just tell them to put all that money they want to give you into the Kickstarter. Boom.
Of course, that's one option. Of course, when people land their money into the Kickstarter, we're also, of course, going to see materially less of that, because some of that's going to go, like I said, it's going to split into all the pieces. But it's the right way of doing it. It's the right way. It is the cost of trust and honesty. And we'll take it. We'll take that cost and we'll be okay. I'm telling you, if every single person that listens to this podcast does not give a single cent to the Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter barely makes it, we will still make this game.
Yep.
It's going to happen. We're going to figure it out. We don't have the resources to do it today, but we're going to do it. So don't feel, if all you could do is share this podcast with someone else.
That's a lot.
Tell them about the game. You're doing a great service.
That's a lot for everyone involved.
To our team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So don't put yourself in any position where you won't, where you won't be okay, or you're gonna like stress your economics out. Don't do that for any reason. There's no reason. It won't get us as far ahead as you might think. But what will get us far ahead is that if you could be here, if you support us in the way that you can, but you're still here, you tell people about the game, you tell people about what's happening and the story and the work that we're doing together, the community we're building, that's enough.
It can be as small as, like you said, sharing. It could be as small as like online, just leaving a like or reposting, commenting, like the smaller things of just even helping interact with the things that we post here on this show for this podcast that helps share this, but also the things that you post on your actual channels, like anything that boosts engagement and the more eyes on this project, the better. Because like we mentioned like earlier in the episode, like that sales funnel, right? Like that's at the top of that funnel, like getting people to see it, and therefore the more people that see it, the more likely there is for people to engage, and so on and so forth. So it could be literally as little as leaving a like, leaving a comment, and that helps a ton.
Yeah. It's less about finding more and more like consumers, and it's more about finding your people,
right?
The more that people talk about this, the easier it is to find our people. And when we find our people, the game will be okay, right? We don't need anyone to do anything beyond just getting a product that they're happy with. If all you do is buy the game, that's it at the very end, and as long as we give you an experience that you're happy with, that you get this result, and you say, this was worth it. This was what I wanted and more. If we give you exactly what you wanted, we failed. We wanted you to be, we want you to be in awe of what we make. That's our goal. So if we can make that thing and give it to you for whatever it ends up costing, $20, $25, whatever that is, and it's a lot of hours and you're happy, that's all that needs to happen. There's nothing else. But if there are more of you that there are, the more that we find our people, the better their community is going to be. I hope our Reddit posts are good, that, we don't end up, the less toxic people are going to be. If you find our people, we're going to be okay. So don't, please, under no circumstance, give more than what you can. Just, share this thing with other people. We'll find the right people and we'll figure it out. That's our job. So it'll be okay.
Not to talk about the things that you mentioned in the DAU about what to expect in the Kickstarter, rewards and stuff like that, and even goals. You mentioned things like guest composers, additional content, console ports, expanded features, even physical rewards, designing enemies, and other processes for more creation stuff. How important is it that rewards enhance the player's connection to the world, to the game, rather than having them feel disconnected from it, right? Because this is coming back to the conversation of like, why make this product what it is, or like why have this as a reward? Like, what would this mean for the customer? What would this do to incentivize them, and stuff like that? So like, I want to pick your brain about that type of stuff.
Yeah, so some of this is very difficult because I like really high quality stuff.
Yeah.
And that's difficult to pay for. But like for example, like something that I'm in discussions with, I think it's okay to this is going to come out by the time we talk about this stuff. It's like the physical edition of the game, the collector's edition of the game, and some other surprises that we want to do, right? So I'm the kind of guy that if you tell me, hey, we'll make you a collector's edition and it's going to be really pretty and whatnot, and I'm like, great, can the box be cut in half? Like, can it be opened like in a diagonal way? Because that's what when I'm thinking about like a collector's edition for Shape Protocol, I'm thinking about like really weird stuff like that. I'm thinking like, let's make something that
make something
people
weird.
Feel this box and they won't forget, right? So of course, what I asked to this people that make products, it's not easy. I'm not an easy client because I am he who stands between them and my community. So I'm going to like demand a lot. So it's very difficult for them to kind of convince me of what we can make, but at the same time, that also reduces the amount of physical goods by a lot. So setting the expectation straight for everybody, there's not going to be a lot of stuff, as in like a ton of different things.
Right.
There's going to be
physical
some of
things.
them, physical things.
There you
go. There are going to be some like really, really high end stuff if we can get them figured out the way we want to. But of course, the really high end stuff is mostly just some things I wanted to make that I know are not rentable, but I know someone's going to want. So that's okay. But most of the time, it's like the stuff that I think we are most focused on is of course the tiers that are probably below like $60 or less. It's kind of my biggest focus. I think I need to focus deeply on that because I think just doing research in the United States specifically, I don't know, I can't do the research for the entire world, but at least in the United States, most people can't really afford a $400 emergency.
Yeah.
So I can't like build the idea that people are going to be able to pay that much for anything that's like hyper important, and I don't want to make it so that only people that can afford those things are the ones that get the highest benefit, right? Of course, it is going to happen that we're going to have stuff that's hard to reach and it's expensive, and that's part of making a Kickstarter and making cool stuff that's rare. But the core thing is that the goals are the rewards that are at the most common space are enjoyable and desirable. So that's kind of where I am. There are things, of course, that are more expensive. Like, for example, people really want like snacklet plushies.
I just thought of an idea of like, why not make a snacklet toy or something that you can literally like make explode, and then you rebuild and rebuild, because that's the whole bit within the Discord, just killing all the snacklets. Give us a snacklet that we can kill whenever we want.
Maybe
physically.
So. There's gonna be stuff like that it's not as much as we wanted to make originally, like right. A ton of things, but like something like maybe a snacklet plushie might be the case.
Plushie, yeah.
But what happens with plushies is that there's 4 colors of them, at least that people know of.
Hey.
And deciding to make 4 different plushies in terms of SKUs,
right,
are different versions of them.
Have a poll of like the most popular snacklet, and then make a plushie of that.
Yeah, I mean, we have to do that, or make a plushie of like Opie or Maggie or Zura, right? So we might end up like with plushies of something more identifiable, because if we decide to do like, oh, one of each, then remember those all get separate. They're separate products, so they need different production lines and different. If it's like something that is handmade, then it's different molding, and it's just much harder than it sounds in order to make it, to keep the cost low. So if we end up with, let's say, we make 25 of each of the 4, then we end up with 100 plushies. That's a lot more expensive than making 100 plushies of Zura.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, we make, even though it is a loss for me, in terms of I wish that I could give you guys, each of the 4. It is going to be really rare that someone's going to buy all 4 of the plushies. Therefore, the economic return for the same effort is much, much, much lower. So then I would rather do something of higher quality that I can make 100 of and get a better pricing, and then people don't have to pay as much.
Yeah.
So I'm more concerned that people don't have to pay outrageous dollars than I am of like making the thing, like you said, like the connectiveness to the world. It is important, but it cannot defeat. We cannot make it so that it's more important that the thing is like perfectly thematic and all that if it's unaffordable.
Yeah,
so those two things are constantly at odds.
Yeah, there's a whole balance between exciting physical rewards with the logistical realities of actually producing and shipping them. It's
yeah,
whole
I can tell you like a couple of things that we're thinking about. This might not happen.
A real instrument, a real sword katana that turns
literally
physically into a violin. Yes.
So both of those things we're thinking about, both of them. So we are
That's crazy.
Like of a replica katana. We're thinking about that. It's not impossible. It's actually not as expensive.
You would
as
rather the katana rather than the shield?
The katana is easily shippable.
Really?
And, yeah, because remember, the katana, when it's a replica, it's not going to weigh as much, but it'll be completely real. Like it is. I mean, it's a replica, right?
Yeah.
But it also can be put in a tube, which is easier to ship than a shield, right? But a shield, you could make it kind of like a display, like those metallic things that go on a wall.
Yeah,
so I mean, we're thinking about all of that kind of stuff. The problem is things like this plate, they tend to ship and get bent and stuff like that. And I'm trying my best to like prevent returns. All that also goes into big cost. But I guess the thought is, the katana is really unlikely. But if we end up doing it, it's not that expensive. It will, of course,
be expensive.
The cost will end up being expensive, but it's not as expensive compared to like a guitar.
Right.
The guitar, we are trying to get that done, but to very little luck, because the expense would be, it would only be something that someone with like way too much money can get.
What about
it's not like we don't want it, but it just feels wrong that the one person in the world gets to have like the one guitar.
Right.
We might end. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't. We might not do it. Right. We might not do it.
What about like a replica of Zura's headpiece? Like I see Mega Man has like a shit ton of merch of just his helmet. Why not that for?
Yeah, I mean, we do have some other things like like I said, we're still scoping the what's the name of it, the plushies. We're looking at that.
Yeah.
I am asking like what a headphone set would look like with like Zura's ears, right?
That'd be sick.
Yeah, something like that. It's not impossible. It's just very expensive. And then remember, it also has to work, right?
Yeah.
So
actual
the
good
quality of the sound
headphones
has to be good, and then the equipment has to be good. It's like a lot.
Yeah,
and it's very breakable, right? So how do you ship that in a way that so if you have to put bubble wrap and packaging, like I know I sound like I'm just shutting the ideas down, but it's just really difficult to get something of high quality that looks really good set up.
And
we're figuring out. Yeah.
And as an audio producer and engineer, like I would want nice sounding headphones,
Mm-hmm.
Especially with a game that's all about music and stuff. Like yeah,
but we have other things that we can do. There is like some, I guess like there's some things that are on the kind of what people call the whale tiers that are pretty special,
like
that I don't want to talk about because I feel like no. There are figurines that we're considering that are, I would say, compared to buying the thing from a store,
Okay.
they're affordable. I would say. I'd say they're they're going to be a little bit more because they come with all the other stuff, right? They
Right.
come all together with a bunch of the stuff. But if you were to opt to separate it, which we can't do that, by the way, we cannot. They are. I think they're a good price for a figurine. But we are thinking about something like an actual like crazy epic, like overwhelmingly spectacular figure. Like Azura kind of, hyper, if you've seen like
cool
the
action
Nier,
shot, whatever.
stuff like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. That's like kind of something that you need both hands. Like it's a big thing. Like,
Yeah.
we're thinking about something like that for like a special edition of the kind of like the collector's edition, something like would only exist in Kickstarter. Some of that stuff, I know that a lot of people have feelings about if things should be like Kickstarter only or not. I hope that you guys can bear with us. Like some of it has to be Kickstarter only because we can only not. I would say some of it, only some of it. I would say 20% of the rewards or something like that will be Kickstarter only. But the reason why they have to be Kickstarter only is because the pricing that we would get to make them is based on the fact that we're in a campaign.
Yes.
Right. So we were not in a campaign, then we wouldn't get those prices, and then it wouldn't make sense. But we do have other stuff like we do have like make a boss, make an enemy. This is digital stuff, right? Make a boss, make an enemy, make a mini boss, make an NPC, make a music track. We have make a snacklet, which I love. So we have a couple of things that are more inside this frame of digital goods that are, if you don't like physical stuff, right, that's okay. We're also thinking about, like, I'm really considering vinyl. I don't really understand I get it, but I don't know a single person that has a player.
I do.
But I know that people like to display it. So that means to me that the vinyl has to be beautiful. So that means it needs to be printed and it needs to be gorgeous.
Danny
right?
and I have a record player. I would be remiss if Dylan didn't have one.
I'm sure, like, I'm sure it exists, right? But what I mean is, like, it's less about the music at that point, and it's more about the packaging,
right?
So you know what I mean? Like, that means that it's not just put the music in a vinyl. It has to be gorgeous.
Yes.
I know we don't do anything that's not gorgeous, but my point is that makes it a little bit more expensive than you would imagine.
Right.
But we have some ideas on how to do that, and we were thinking about it. But something like, I'll give you an idea of the collector's edition. The collector's edition would come, and this is, once again, you're gonna quote me, but please don't. We have, the actual physical game in there, as in like the case.
Right.
So it'll be like, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, or some other casing. But then you'll have the actual music soundtrack in like beautiful discs. And then, of course, it comes with a little USB for digital, digital mastered stuff. Then you'll have a steelbook, which I'm incredibly proud that we're thinking about, like, getting that done, like a really, really beautiful, spectacular steelbook with all the art. And then I should have an image here, but I don't. But then the other thing would be what is it? Oh, a user's manual, which I know is pretty retro, but we really love it.
You're retro inspired, cool. Baby. Yeah.
And yeah, it's like one of my fondest memories is that I remember the day like yesterday when I bought Final Fantasy VII, and I remember, like, it was a big expense for my family. With I only had, like, the one little PlayStation, and that was like one of two games I had for the longest time. And when I bought that game, my mom, I know now, that it was a big sacrifice for her, but I remember reading that user manual left and right, like, forever. Every time that I wasn't playing that game, I was reading that manual, and then eventually I bought the little guide that they used to make, the paperback guide, and reading everything, even though, like, I had only played the game. It's just that kind of thing. I know that maybe for younger generations you might not feel the same nostalgia, but it's a big thing, right? So we want to have it, and I think it's something that it'll look beautiful even in display. So yeah, that's of course we'll figure out the rest of the physical stuff there. But for now, I wouldn't say that there's a lot more physical stuff that we're gonna do. Some of the stuff you're gonna be surprised, but they're bigger expenses for sure. I think something that I said that I want to do is a music box.
Yeah.
I'm deeply obsessed with making a music box.
Yeah.
I don't know how we can make it affordable, because remember, you have to make the metallic drum that goes inside, and you have to do the composition for it. We have Dylan. He'll get it done, but it's just very challenging, and then we have to ship it to you. It's a difficult thing. But if I could get the music box, that would be like the reward that I'm gonna fight as hard as I can to make it more affordable so that people can get it. But don't expect you to open the music box and have like a little figure of Zora spinning like a little princess. We're not gonna be able to do that, right? We'll figure something out. Yeah.
I love that. And of course, this is not to mention stretch goals, right? Which you're playing with the idea of more tracks, guest composers, maybe even voice acting. There's a lot that can potentially go into this campaign.
Yeah. I would say, the stretch goals are pretty great. I'm so freaking excited about the stretch goals. The truth is that most people don't look at the stretch goals. This is just factually the case. Most people, they don't, they don't look at, we're like $100 away from like this tier. They just look at what they want to get from the rewards. So the rewards are like 95% of the driver. There's some stuff in the stretch goals that are going to help, but most of the time it's a detractor actually. For example, someone that wants to buy the game for Switch 2, they probably won't support the Kickstarter until we've crossed the goal of Switch 2. And that's going to be super. That's why we got to put that super early, right? Like porting, which by the way is incredibly expensive, but we're going to put like a fraction of the cost of porting there, assuming that we are going to bankroll the rest on our own. Because if we told you guys what it really costs to port, like we'll never fund that, right? It's just too much work. But the point is like, when we set our first goal, then very near those first goals, we have to put like some stuff that is just, we'll call it like kind of infrastructurally required for people to actually feel confident in supporting. Because if you're like a PlayStation person, you're not going to support a game that's not going to come out in PlayStation very quickly, right? So I get it, like that's normal. But to the point there, it's our the rewards that we're going to generate are going to be sufficient that you don't have to look at the stretch goals to want them. That's a kind of the quality bar that I want to create, that you just look at what you like on the right pretty much, and you just get that thing that makes you happy. We're gonna do add-ons though. This is a good thing for a lot of people. If you're listening to this, we're gonna do add-ons, which means that what you can do is you could get, for example, and I don't know how the add-ons are gonna be precisely done. They're actually getting done this week as we're recording this. So, it sounds, if you're hearing this like the day before the Kickstarter, don't be stressed. This is the 14th. But we are, for example, we would be able to do, you're getting the game, and then you want like the art book, you can just add the art book. As a digital art book, you could add it to your pledge, so that you don't have to like go all the way to like a tier that you might not be able to, or you don't want to, right? Because maybe it's too much, or it has things you don't want, right? So if all you want are certain components, you could get them. I will tell you in advance though, the stuff that's in the collector's editions is not going to be separated. And it's mostly because it will make the cost of the collector's editions bloat, because then we'll have to like figure out all the pieces individually. Whereas let's say we make like, let's say 500 collector's editions, then we can make exactly 500 out of everything, right? But if they separate, then the cost actually will bloat, and that's just not good. Anyway, the point is, other things like soundtrack and the original art book,
right?
things like that are, and there's a lot more cool stuff that I don't want to reveal, but that's stuff like that that's mostly either digital or physical, but easy to like separate. Then you'll be able to like add it on to your pledge. So if all you want is the game and that thing, then you could do that, and you don't have to like suffer to like go to tiers you don't want to. Which is, you know, not great for us, but it's really good for the consumer. And I'd rather you be able to do that than you spend your money in a way that, you know, you end up getting a bunch of stuff you don't want.
Understood.
The other thing there's a lot here, but the other thing is we're setting up two things, but I can tell you about one today, which is I don't know how it's called, but it's like it's Kickstarter allows you to, like, if you pay $140 or more during the lifetime of the campaign, because you can like pledge now and then eventually you say, you know, because the whole thing's gonna last a little bit over a month. If you, let's say you get the physical game and then eventually you want to get like something else and you get them both, whenever you've already had, I think, $140 total in the campaign, it allows you to split your payment into three, which is great. It's a great thing that allows you to, like, you know, not pay immediately. I don't quite remember how it's called, but I think it's it's really cool. The point is that, you know, they're doing that. I think I'm almost sure it's interest free. So pretty much if it's like 140, then you just pay 140 divided by 3 over, you know, however 3 installments, and that's okay. If you want to do that but you're kind of budgeting you know, monthly, then you could do that too.
Right, like Zip.
Yeah, it pretty much
paying
just,
installments.
It just makes your life a lot better. The next thing there, yeah, I'm not gonna bring up the other thing. The other thing is important that it's reserved for the campaign, but mostly the rest of it is things like that. We're just like doing everything we can to like keep things in a good budget. Something else we're doing that is really important is we are not adding shipping to your pledges.
Hey.
And that's a really, really big win. And what that means is because of the current state of things, we don't have to go into any of that, it would be probably really expensive for us to charge you shipping today in a state that might not be the state when, you know, we actually ship things, right? So what we want to do is just, you know, we're not going to charge you shipping, and then when the time comes for shipping to be paid, then it will be calculated then. Which hopefully by then, you know, if let's say we sold a lot of stuff, maybe we have warehouses where we can ship stuff from different places. So it gives us time to try to figure out alternatives to expensive shipping, especially for countries that, you know, do not have a production facility or stuff like that. But it also just, I wouldn't want to charge people for shipping today for the future.
Right.
It also protects the game in a way. It's less about that, but it could happen that if happens in the future that shipping is higher, then of course, yes. But at that point, then we would have to charge you for the difference. And that sucks, right? So it's might as well you keep the money now. We don't have to hold on to your money for all that time. The money is better in your hands than, you know, it's much better to keep it in your hands. So yeah, it is kind of rare that people are charging the shipping today, but it is much better for the campaign to charge it today, because then you just kind of do your deals with the producers, the people that are producing that, based on all that amount of revenue. But it's just not worth it. So we're just gonna do it that way, which I think, you know, it's not uncommon, or not trying to sound like, you know, we are doing something, you know, overly holy here, but it's important. It's a decision that we could have done differently and would rather not. So it's okay. Other than that, I can't think of. I mean, this. Oh, stretch goals. Which ones can I reveal? I'm looking at a list that is not final. I don't think I could say almost any of this. Of course, we're gonna have you know, something for porting, for bringing the game to different consoles. I'm trying my best not to do like localization goals. Like, I think we would probably say like, oh, here I'm not sure, right? It's interesting, but we could do like, for example, here's this tier that has like this guest composer, and the game will also be like put into these two languages, something like that, right? I don't know, like I feel like whenever you hit a goal that is only like hitting a language, even though I understand, that language might be critically important to a subset of our community, it just feels like
it should be included.
It should feel like it should just be part of the game.
Yeah.
But of course, it's very expensive to do localization for a game that has like, a lot of menus, interesting dialogue, whenever, and when I say interesting dialogue, I don't mean a lot of dialogue. When dialogue is actually interesting, it requires context. Right. So we might say piece of cake that doesn't translate to Japanese. Right. So things like that. Nuance. Yes, Malthus. Good word. So yes, we have to worry about those things, and it gets expensive. That requires more higher level, localization efforts. So yeah, we'll figure that out. But then I guess I could say we are working on a guest appearance that is very near to my heart.
Oh my god!
And I think it would be great that we could get that done. Hopefully, we could get it done. But it's looking really good. I'm excited about it. And if we can't get that done, I think it'd be great. But yeah, it's a cool thing. So there is, of course, the hell you're doing, man? Why do I have to delete your comment like that? Why you gotta make me do that? So the
yeah, I was gonna
do that. Yeah, Jared, man. Okay, but there's a lot of stuff there that we were trying to do, but there's other surprises that people don't quite expect there. Of course, these things cost money, but I think the most important thing, if you're a fan of the game and you're not like if you care about the game, what you should see through this is that some of these things give us immense credibility, because most of the people that we're trying to get to work with us, they don't work with us. God damn, what are you doing?
I'm trolling here. I'm trolling. This is not real. I do not know this. I don't know what you're talking about. You just said Nier. I know you. I know you love Nier Automata. I know you said that's part of the inspiration.
I didn't say anything. I just said it's very near and dear for my heart.
That's what I'm saying. You just said Nier, and I'm like, oh hey, Nier as in Nier Automata. I'm just making shit up.
Creating expectations. You're just like this guy heavy on our. He keeps imagining that I said some shit about like multiple instruments. Just absolute like weird. Like it's just you're dreaming. It's a dream. So I've never said it's going to be more than 5 instruments. Never has that happened. Don't believe it. It's all a lie.
You never not said it.
Yeah.
So I love this. I love this.
Bringing that, like, there is of course, a chance that there might be a goal, a stretch goal that includes a new instrument. That's possible. And that's like game content. Those are honestly some of the best goals, because they are literally making more game, right? They are giving the community, they're making the cost of the game much better because you're getting more game, right? So whenever you see those, you might think, oh, but that's not a guest composer, or that's not like, some other like, those are the actually better, more important goals, because they are fully funding our team. They're like every dollar in a tier, for example, that includes a new instrument, is going to funding like, Durrani and Danny and, Dylan and, Tyler, Ilya, like it's helping them. But the core thing is that it's making more game. So maybe at that point, instead of like 24 hours, the game goes to like 30 hours. So it just keeps growing the value of the purchase, and that's what we really want to do. We can't do all of it like that because, of course, you guys love other stuff, and we have to kind of please you a little bit, right? But if we could just make content like that and make every single goal a bunch of content, then we would. But it just wouldn't work. So yeah, I mean, for now, that's kind of what we're thinking about. There are a couple of opportunities for guest appearances. I'm not talking about video game characters. I'm talking about like, industry people
Cool.
that you guys
Hey,
would like.
that's awesome.
In terms of content, we might put like areas and stuff like that we wouldn't be able to do. We wouldn't put something there that it's like, oh, this is going to happen, and and we're just trying to get it funded. We're not that kind of team. If we're putting it there, it's something that we probably wanted to do, but either are not currently able to prioritize in terms of affording it, or it's one of the things that we would have to cut if we had to prioritize something else. The collab, we're going to reveal it. If you're hearing this after the 25th, then you've already seen it. But the 25th is the anniversary of Shape Protocol's announcement.
Yep.
Which we did last year, May 25th, during the OTK Summer Expo.
God, I remember that day very well.
It's a great day for our team, of course. But going into this year, of course, I wish I knew a party planner, or someone that can help me make something big, but we don't, and we are in the middle of planning for Kickstarter. So we're gonna do a big reveal. So what we're gonna do is the way that we can celebrate this. And what's gonna happen there is we're gonna do a showcase, we'll call it, of the collab, right? And the collab, some people know what it is. I'd say only a handful, and I think a handful could be kind of literal. I think probably 5 people know,
right?
Because I can help myself, but I don't spoil things. I don't. This is just
quote him, chat. He doesn't spoil things.
The thing is, we also needed to kind of also talk about it with the people, mostly not to like, die of stress, but mostly to also validate that this is the kind of stuff that people like, and so
yes.
So it's gonna happen through this, that we'll talk to people. But this was more of a, I guess the big thing here is that this collab is pretty big. It's pretty big for us.
We're gonna do a specific episode on this collab, and I'll be asking you so many questions about it. And like, but the one thing that I feel like you can potentially answer now is like, what does it mean for you? Like, how does this make you feel to collab with this this IP that you're hinting at?
It's pretty unreal.
Yeah,
it's pretty unreal. I can't tell you why, because it will
Not
give
yet.
it away.
Yeah, teasing.
Actually, it wouldn't give it away, but it would make it easy to like narrow it down.
Right.
But I will tell you something that I think it's okay to say, so that we can manage expectations.
Right.
It's big. It's big, right? It's a big game. However, like, it might be, I can't really say. It's a big game, but I just don't want people to like think like we're not collabing with like fricking, I don't know. I'm gonna say Resident Evil. Like we're not like, it's not like, we're dealing with like, the AAA of AAAs. Like, just, understand that it's like, it makes sense. The collab makes sense. That's important. It makes sense. It feels good. And but it is way beyond our reach, I would say. Like, the fact that we got heard, and I'll say more on that set of questions, but the fact that we had this good conversation, and I will say this on this episode, but I definitely want to record that other one, give you a lot more there.
Yeah.
The energy has been peers. The energy has been partners. We are not paying for, this is really important to me. I know maybe for other people it isn't, but for me it's important. We're not paying for the collab.
Right.
They're not paying for the collab. We are, of course, both together are having expenses about it, right? I think that's not what I mean. I mean that normally in situations like this, like, I mean, we have like influencers here in the chat, like, Pixel could explain this. Like, there's many games that they pay for another game to get their IP and to like, kind of leverage their what's the word I'm looking for? Their kind of how big they are, right? Like their fame, right? None of that's happening here. We are just two studios that love what we're making enough so that it comes across to the other, and the energy of the collab has been amazing. The strength of how the teams have bonded, and just I don't, it's just
It's
so
literally like what it means to collaborate. Like it's, together we are mighty, something that you like to say.
exactly.
It's literally just a mutual beneficial thing for both parties because you guys love each other that much.
Yeah, I mean, and it's clearly we are in this moment in time. Clearly, we are the small fish. Clearly, I
Sure,
mean, it's
right.
not even like I think it's pretty obvious, right? No matter what, we're the smaller fish in the sea here. But the big thing with it is that even then, it really feels like we're both coming at it with the mentality of like, uh, it's worth it for both of us, and no one feels they're giving more than the other, even though of course you'll see it when we talk about it. We're doing a little bit more of the heavy lifting because we are earlier. We are earlier, and we could do things, right? We are in a situation where, if we decide to do content, I'll frame it like that. We decide to do content, then we are early enough where that content could be planned and it
I
could be
see.
part of our normal structure, versus maybe, if we were collabing and we were much further along, then it would be much difficult to then, imaginary. I'm not saying how many bosses there are going to be, heavy, but I'm just saying, let's say there were 30 bosses in the game, imaginarily, and then we end up collabing with someone and we end up with, I don't know, like, we're going to do something cool with them, and we're going to do 5 bosses.
You're in a
Then
position where
in the
you can
future,
integrate
yeah,
that into the
we could
game.
just lose 5 bosses and add the 5 bosses from that side, and in
Right.
reality the loss is insignificant. There's going to be a cost of an operational cost, but now we have like a, what I call a stakeholder, right?
Right.
Now we owe them the respect of agency and having a little bit of control, and maybe, they're this team is the kind of team that they'll say like, yeah, give me the sprite sheet, let me like touch it up or do something. Like, they're that kind of like really spectacular hands-on team. They're just really good team. I'm not saying that's what's happening at all. I'm just saying that they are the kind of team that they're just very good at what they do, and they will want things to be spectacular for everyone. So they care. So that's exactly who I want to work with. So it will be slightly more expensive than doing the 5 bosses that we would have done anyway, but in an insignificant, trivial way, right? So yeah, the goal here is to, it's going to also, let me say this, it's going to be very light coming out of the gate, but the Kickstarter is going to have its own path. I don't know how we're going to do it, even though we're like, 3 weeks away from it. We're still like fighting internally to figure out the specifics. But there's going to be like imagine, Kickstarters normally have like their goals that go down, right? Their stretch goals.
Yeah.
We're going to have like a sub quest kind of thing. It's like a, kind of alternate universe of goals where we have the goals for the collab, because it's that important. It's that big. And those goals would be pretty important, right? Maybe some of those goals will involve like extra content on our side. Some of them might involve extra content on their side. But it's mostly going to be on our side because we're taking the responsibility of that in our Kickstarter. But as we go down the goals of the Kickstarter, more stuff will be like turned on, and those things that get enabled will be, I'll frame it as net positive value for the player. It'll just be value for the player, period. Like, every time we cross one of the collab goals, the players are going to get more value, period. Like, it'll be, those tiers are big for the players. So that's how I could frame it. I'm about to start spoiling stuff, and I never do that. So because I never do that, I'll be quiet.
Never.
But, yeah.
Then
it'll be cool. I think some of you might be thinking too far of who it is, but people have already figured it out.
Hey.
They don't know that they figured it out. But I've given some clues, and I don't think anyone's got it. Other than the people that I've told, nobody knows. And it is not the stuff that you assume that I said earlier. It's not that.
That's so funny.
I can tell you it's not that.
That's so funny.
But I can tell you that is a good fit. It's a good fit for our game. It's a good fit. I'll leave it at that.
The Shade Protocol Kickstarter launches June 4th. If you've been following the game, enjoying the Breaking Protocol episodes, or participating in the DAU discussions, this is the moment where the community has a chance to directly support the future of the project. Whether it's for the music, the world building, the combat systems, the characters, or simply the passion behind the game, this campaign could play a major role in helping Shade Protocol grow into its full vision. Links are down below. This has been another episode of Breaking Protocol from the Razzle Dazzle Show. Want to help what Shade Protocol becomes? Join the Shade Protocol Discord server to follow new DAUs, vote in polls, and share your voice with the dev team directly. And if you like this breakdown, check out our past spotlights and interviews with Kendall right here on the Razzle Dazzle Show. Remember, the future of Emeria is still being written.